welcome back to Social Studies with Miss Wardell. So we're talking again in this chapter 19 and about different perspectives. And one that we've talked a lot about, even in our reading unit, is the American Indians, right? So disease brought from Europe and killed many of the indigenous people, the natives who lived there. Those who survived had their own problems with the European colonists. Remember, they didn't treat them very fairly. Many of the conflicts between American Indians and colonists were over land and sometimes an effort of cooperation. Europeans and American Indian tribes signed treaties allowing colonists to purchase American Indian lands. However, often the colonists were unfair and tricked them into giving up their land for very little money. Even more commonly, colonists would supply or would simply settle on their land without permission. I mean, it's not very fair, is it? Disagreements over this land led to much fighting, and many colonists and indigenous people died in what Europeans called Indian Wars. Sometimes whole Indian tribes, such as Pequotas, became extinct, and throughout colonial times, many American Indian cultures disappeared. To try to adapt to their new situation, some American Indian tribes gave up their traditional ways of life and tried to become part of this white society. Instead of hunting and fishing for food, they learned to farm for a living. They wore English clothing and spoke English language and practiced Christianity. In the end, most tribes were forced to give up their land and move west beyond the Appalachian Mountains. So look at this picture here. Examine the painting and answer the questions. Looking at your picture on your page, because it might not be as clear on mine, does this painting show cooperation or conflict between the colonists? Well, I feel as if because of all of the shooting, and I see guns and fighting, and it's so much different than like that first Thanksgiving we saw. So I'm going to say it's conflict. Conflict means like a struggle or indifference, right? Or having a disagreement. List observations from the painting that support your answer to number 1. So you might include that that the Indians are hiding. I could say natives are hiding. They have weapons. I see lots of weapons. I see smoke. So maybe you add like 1 or 2 other things. What do you see that might be different that I didn't see? On page 143, we're going to see, is it true or false? Okay? Men had more privileges than women had in colonial America. Very true. Women didn't get to come over for a while. Free African Americans were allowed to vote. Absolutely not. Artisans settled only in the southern colonies. So this is false. They didn't just settle in the southern colonies, but they settled throughout. So I'm going to change this to throughout. Okay? I'm going to say were not allowed to vote. Right? Indentured servants were enslaved for life. No, not till for life. Definitely not for life. But until they paid, or not paid, but I guess I should say worked off their debt. Okay? slaves were considered to be property instead of human beings. That's definitely true. American Indians were paid well for their land. No. Sometimes they were, I'm going to say poorly. Sometimes they were even tricked, right? They were tricked. We even read that over there. We even read that over here when it said very little money, right? They were even paid very little money. So no, they were not paid well. Most large landowners lived in New England colonies. But, well, not really, because all the land really was in that southern, like those big plantations, right? So false. I'm going to let you do 8, 9, and 10. Okay? And then tell me, explain the role of indentured servants and slavery. Okay? So explain this role. Tell me what they did, right? You do not have to do this part or the writing prompt. Okay, guys? Alright, see you next time. Bye.